what's up? It's Nelly. Welcome back to my channel. If you are wondering, yes, I am dying of heat in this sweater and with all of my lights, but I don't know. If I take it off, I'm cold, and then if I put it on, I'm hot. So we're just gonna roll with it. Today's video is going to be a really different one. I am going to be showing you guys how to highlight your face using matte powders. I know that highlighting is super duper popular at the moment, but not a lot of people like the shimmer highlight, and if you have texture like I do, you might prefer a more matte skin. So that's what I'm going to be showing you guys. You're going to look nice and highlighted and lifted and sculpted, but there's not going to be any shimmer to your skin, and that's why I have my eye makeup done and nothing on my skin, because we are going to focus today on the skin, making it nice and matte but still highlighted and sculpted. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. I'm gonna go ahead and start off by priming my skin, and these are the two primers that I go for all the time whenever I am doing more of a mattifying skin, because this just makes everything really nice and even. It fills in my pores. It keeps my skin nice and hydrated, but it also keeps my skin nice and matte so that no oils are peeking through. So I first like to go in with the one from Hourglass. Now I know NYX has a great dupe for this primer. I used to use it all the time, and then I ran out and I never bought it again, but I'm gonna have to go back and get it. Now that is nice and blended into the skin, I'm gonna go in with the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Primer. This is just a silicone primer. It's just going to conceal those pores, it's going to fill them in, and it's going to give you a nice smooth canvas to work with. I mainly focus this primer right here on this area because that is where I have the largest pores, and that's where I need the most filling and the most help. And then I'll also take whatever is left on my chin and up in the forehead. Now that our skin is nice and prepped, we are ready to move on to foundation. So for foundation today, I am using my beloved, I love this foundation. This is the only thing I have been wearing ever since I got it. This is the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation, and I'm in the shade Punjab. I love this foundation. Now this is not going to be a matte finish. This is more of like a natural, even a little dewy of a foundation, but you guys, I cannot do a matte foundation. My skin just looks really old and crackly and crinkly. I don't even know, it just looks bad. So I always do something that's a little bit more of a natural finish, and then I'll just make it matte using my powders, because I just can't. My face just looks really bad when I do matte foundations. It just tends to break up, and it's just a hot mess. If you have a matte foundation that works for you and that you love, go ahead and use that. I am just going to go ahead and use this one. For this particular foundation, I prefer to go in with a brush. I am using the Morphe E56. I just feel like this foundation on my skin just applies a lot nicer when I go in with a brush. I'm going to begin to work this into my skin. So a super important tip is, since we are going to be working with so much powder, you definitely want to apply a light layer of every single product. You do not want to go in super heavy-handed and apply a ton of product, because that's when you're going to look cakey, and that's not what we're going for. So you definitely want to use a very light amount of product. Like for my foundation, I used about 2 pumps, and that is what I'm using to cover my whole entire face. So now the foundation is done, we are going to go ahead and start to conceal. Now you definitely want to take a concealer that is almost your same skin color, if not a shade lighter. You don't want to do anything too light, because we are going to add a lighter concealer later on. I am using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Custard, and I'm using this concealer because it just works so pretty with this foundation. So I am just going to go ahead and apply this under the eyes. Now, when I get to the outer corner, I'm going to use this to clean up my eyeshadow, and I'm also going to drag it out this way just to highlight and lift that area. So I am concentrating it here, And then once I get back here, I'm going to take it all the way up to the temple. So once you have that under there, you want to just go ahead and take your beauty blender and just blend it out like normal. Okay, so now that that is blended under your skin, you want to go ahead and take a concealer that's 2 shades lighter than your skin. So I am using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Fair. Now this is very, very light, but that is what's going to give us that brightening under eye. So I'm going to go ahead and apply just a little bit because this concealer is pretty full coverage and it's pretty bright. And I'm also going to apply some down the nose, right here on the center of the forehead, and right here on the chin and around the nose. Go back in with that beauty sponge and blend everything out, but I am going to leave my nose last. Go in with my foundation brush and I'm just going to buff out the edges to make sure that it's not too noticeable and that everything is nice and blended. Now we are ready to blend out the nose. Go ahead and set everything into place. I'm going to take my Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder and I'm going to use this to set my under eyes. So I am going to take my sponge, dip it in there, make sure that there's no creasing. I'm going to take a little mirror and I'm going to look up and set the under eye area. I'm going to apply this all the way back here. So I'm going to take it down here and back towards that temple area like so. I'm also going to apply some on the chin and right here on the center. And I'm going to apply some down the nose. Now I'm going to go ahead and set the rest of the skin because we want it to be nice and matte. So I am taking the Maybelline Fit Me powder in shade number 20. And I am going to take the back of my beauty sponge, the one that's a flat side. And I'm just going to dip it into that powder. I'm going to tap off the excess. I don't want anything to be too intense. And I'm going to do a very, very light layer of this powder. So I'm going to start right here, very, very light layer. And set that foundation into place so that it's nice and matte. Tapping off the excess. And setting. Now you don't want to take this powder under the eyes or wherever you apply the translucent powder. You just want to take this on the areas where you didn't apply any translucent powder. Completely blend out for a second. So while the under eyes are baking and setting, I'm going to go ahead and really quickly finish my lower lash line and then wipe off the powder, and then we'll be right back to start highlighting and contouring with powder. Alrighty, so there you go. The eyes are done. We are ready to finish on with the skin. So let's go ahead and contour a little bit, shall we? So I have 2 contour kits that I love and I go back and forth all the time. This one is the one by NYX. It's a lot more affordable than my next one that I'm going to show you, but I use this one all the time, especially for highlighting. The next palette that I love is my Kat Von D palette. Love, love, love this palette so much. I think for today's look, I'm going to go ahead, I don't know, which one should I use? So I'm just going to go ahead and use this one because both are great, but I'm gravitating more towards this one today. I'm taking it with a MAC 169, 199, 189. I can't read it anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and take a mixture of the first and second shade. And I'm going to apply this on the hollows of the cheeks right here. I'm also going to take a little bit of this and I'm going to apply it on the sides of my forehead, kind of like by the arch of the brow. You don't want to apply it on the middle of the forehead because we are going to be highlighting right there. So you want to just go kind of like up in the hairline, but leaving that forehead, the center of the forehead, just completely bare. So I'm going to go ahead and contour my nose just a little bit, very little. I'm going to take that same powder. I'm just going to run this on the sides of my nose just a little bit. So now I'm going to apply a little bit of bronzer, very little, just to warm up the skin a little bit more. And I am using the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. I'm going to use a little bit of this just to kind of warm up the skin just a tad bit. So I'm going to go ahead and take that Fit Me powder one more time with my sponge. And I'm going to take a little bit of this and I'm going to carve out that bronzer slash contour that we created. I used to use a white powder all the time to carve out that contour, but I realized that it didn't look good. It was looking like kind of like a white cast and I didn't like it. So I switched over to a powder that matches my skin tone and it just matches my neck so much better than the white powder. So I have been using that instead and I love it. Now that we are nice and bronze, we can go back and highlight just a little bit more. So to highlight, I am going to take the NYX powder. I like this one better than the Kat Von D because I feel like the Kat Von D is just a little bit too dark for my skin tone. So I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is that stark pinky white shade. And I'm going to take this using a Sephora number 75 brush. I like this brush because it's dense and it has an angle and it's perfect to get under the eyes. And this packs so much product, so you have to be very gentle and careful. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some of that in my brush. I'm going to top off the excess because we don't want a lot of powder. And then I'm going to begin to place this under the eyes. I'm not going to rub. I'm going to, look at that. You can already see how much brighter that looks. So I'm just going to go ahead and stipple it on. You don't want to brush because when you brush, you move product. So stipple it on. And again, take it all the way back towards the temple area. Using the tip of the brush, I'm going to take a little bit of the powder and work it right here on the sides of my nose, just to chisel out that contour even more. And I'm going to take it down right here towards the nose and up and back. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit more. I'm going to put some on the chin. I'm going to take a little bit more and I'm going to put it on the center of the forehead. So now I'm going to go ahead and take a smaller brush with that same vanilla powder, and I'm using the matte powder. Don't get confused because this palette also brings a shimmer, two shimmers. I'm using the stark white vanilla powder that's in the contour kit. The one that's matte, no shimmer. So I'm going to take my little brush and I'm going to put a little bit of this on the ball of my nose. Like if you would do just a shimmer highlight. And also down the bridge of the nose. Okay, that is a lot. Don't worry, because you can go back in with the beauty blender and blend it up. Look at that. Look at that. And that is using powders. Yes, honey. Woo. So now I'm going to go ahead and take a clean brush and wipe off the powder that we have on our cheeks. And boom. Only thing left to do is blush. I'm going to go in with my favorite blush ever. I talk about this blush all the time. This is Cargo's Tonga blush, and I'm going to apply it using a dual fiber brush to the apples of the cheeks. Okay, so I went ahead and I did my lid off camera. I'll have my combination linked down below. If you guys like it, you can go ahead and check it out. But the last thing that's left to do is set everything into place. Since we did use a ton of powder, let me fix my mirror really quick. Since we did use a ton of powder, you definitely want to set it. Use a setting spray so that all of that powder kind of melts into the skin, sinks in, and looks nice and natural. And I'm stuffing. Why am I getting sick again? My favorite setting spray at the moment is the one from e.l.f. So I am going to go ahead and spray this all over my skin. Alrighty, you guys, so this is the finished final look. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that if you have textured skin like I do, if you have large pores and you feel insecure every time you wear a shimmer highlight, I hope this video encourages you to wear a matte highlight because you still look nice and sculpted and highlighted, but your pores are nice and not visible. Honestly, I do love a good highlight, don't get me wrong, but I love the way my skin looks when it's nice and matte. I feel like I look youthful, I look younger, and I have problematic skin. I have texture, I get pimples, I have pores, and sometimes highlight is not too nice to my skin because it accentuates every little thing that's wrong with it. So this is something that I would do on the days that my texture is just out of control, and I love it. Alrighty guys, so that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please don't forget to subscribe before you go. Hit the like button and also turn on your post notifications. Hit that bell, and all that's going to do is just going to send you an update to your phone whenever I have uploaded a new video. So if you don't want to miss anything, go ahead and hit that notification bell. Alrighty, so I love you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon with a new video. Mwah!